What's up, dudes and dudettes of the internet? My name's Scythe, and we are back again for some more Force Showdown. Now, you may not know, but the reason that I'm saying we're back again is I've covered this game a couple times in the past. Once when it was early access, once when it was launched, or at least very close to it, and now today we're going to be covering the expansion. However, every time I make videos on this game, I end up progressing pretty far, then I end up uninstalling the game because I get busy with other stuff. Now we've got to cover it again, and I had to erase my file, so unfortunately we're not going to see the expansion's content per se. We're more so going to be able to see this new character because the expansion is very much themed on robotics, and kind of just progress through the game, and I'm going to explain the gameplay mechanics and stuff like that. It's a roguelike game that's kind of, I guess, a little bit like a single-player survival League of Legends. Dare I say. It also has a lot of aspects of Diablo, very similar to Diablo 3, in fact. Now, before we progress, folks, the devs were kind enough to throw me a couple extra codes, and they said that it was okay for me to give them away. So I'm going to be giving away 2 codes of this game today, folks. If you want to win any of them, if you actually, if you see this as a game you actually would enjoy, I would very much appreciate, in order to qualify for the winner, you're going to have to hit the like button for me because it helps me out, then I help you out, and yeah, just leave a comment in the comment section down below, and I'll reply to 2 lucky winners and let you know what you got to go through in order to actually get yourself the codes. Now, the way that this game works is we complete 2 of these levels. There's 4 of them, so we only gotta complete 2 of them to fill up this bar right here, and then we would progress to the, I guess we'll call it the boss of the area, and then this door would end up being destroyed. We would continue further down the pathway, so on and so forth, until we get to the actual act boss, or the campaign boss, let's call it, and then we would progress to the next campaign, and the next campaign, and the next campaign. So you can expect that we're not going to be able to cover that stuff in today's video. However, I just wanted to clue you all in. So the other thing too is these pictures actually kind of play a little bit of an important role because these determine what is going to be either the perk or disadvantage of going into these challenges. So you can see this one is 2 toys. So let's just try it, and who cares? I'm not exactly sure what all of them do, but you can see right there, start with 2 random consumables. There's also more enemies added. And then the captain is going to be the boss of this level, and we're kind of going to be progressing through different phases in order to actually get through the entire level. At the start of the game, too, I want to mention that there are multiple characters you can choose, as well as a couple different allies you can pick as well. If you want to see the other characters, they're already covered in my other videos. Now, this is very important. This is the card system that comes into play, where we can mulligan one of these, which means that we could, I really like all of these, so let's just say we want to get rid of this one in the hopes of getting a different card for the beginning, and then otherwise all these other cards are going to progress with us through all of the rounds, right? Now, down here at the bottom center of the screen, you can see we've got 1 of 1 mana, and we're going to end up getting more and more mana as we progress through the rounds. So we can get this one, which gives us more mana just for free, takes 0, but we still can't afford either of these, so we're going to get this, which is gain a random upgrade card that costs 2 less mana. So let's grab that, and perfect, there we go. Heal 35 health each time you play a spell card. I guess that's something worth grabbing, and then without further ado, let's get into the gameplay here. Oh goodness, we triggered some of the lasers. The cool thing about this game is that all of this is very random, like random generated, you know? So there's gonna be traps all over the place, like you can see that one right there. Our little ally's dead, no! And then all the enemies are gonna be random generated as well, and just throughout the matches, you're gonna kind of be progressing and facing harder and harder odds, right? Oh goodness gracious, get out of here, you weirdo! Now, this character as well, even though he's a gunner character, you can see he's much slower in the way that he kind of shoots things. Very reminiscent of the Terrans from the StarCraft series. At least it is for me. Now, we can't afford any of these, so we're just going to continue. The one thing, too, that's important to note about this character is that his final shot is kind of like a phasing shot that shoots through everything. Our right click is that big, beautiful, explosive type thing. Kind of like a nice, electric orb that phases through enemies and kind of continues through them all the way to the edge of the screen, right? We can always reload as well if we ever end up finding ourselves in a bit of a pinch, and, you know, want to reload strategically, right? Once we end up completing the round 2, thankfully, like, the game gets rid of all of the explosives and traps and stuff like that, so you don't gotta worry about it. Now, hopefully we're gonna be able to cover through all of this after jetpack jump launch, which is our ultimate. I'll show you that in this round. Launch 5 small homing missiles. Now, that's what this ultimate is right here, and I love it because it gives us increased movement speed, and we can kind of progress, like, kind of get through the area and fly over the map. Now, the one thing that's important to consider is because of the generation here that's being, like, overly difficult, also I'm not being particularly careful, is that if we end up dying, it's permanent because it's a roguelike type of game. I'm pretty sure, although I've never had the have it happen, like, it's been a long time since I ended up playing this game and ended up dying, but I'm pretty sure you just kind of get knocked out of this phase and then you gotta retry it all again. I don't know if you gotta get through the whole game on 1 life. I think you do for the phases, but I'm not exactly sure. It was a long time since I played this game, sorry to say, folks, but there is some pretty interesting bosses that you can end up generating as well. They always, all of them actually have very different phases, and the way that they control, it's just very, very cool, very different, you know. Like, I ended up having, last time I covered this game, I ended up actually getting up to the Cobra boss. I don't think I did that in the video, I think I just kind of talked about it, and he destroyed me because I didn't know how to destroy him, how to wreck him. He ended up having a shield around him. He ran into walls. I'm pretty sure as he ran into walls, he stunned himself. But yeah, piercing shot now deals 100% damage and is increased in size. Oh my goodness, that sounds beautiful, doesn't it? So now we could be strategically choosing when we want to use our phased shots, which I'm not really gonna bother with that because otherwise now we're starting to get into the territory of having some much heavier damage, meaning that we're not really gonna be dealing with that much trouble from all these enemies, which all your health kind of progresses through all of the phases of these levels and stuff, so that's important to note. That's why we ended up getting that perk that made it so that we could end up regenerating for each round. So these ones right here gain a Squire Puff ally, which kind of carries over through this round. If it survives, you gain 15% damage. So we're gonna grab both of them and kind of hope that they stick back, relax, and don't end up, I don't want to end up luring them into any of the dangers of these enemies because, oh my goodness gracious, there is so many enemies in this round and it's such tight corridors as well. We gotta be very, very careful. No! Those squires are taking damage. Let's rocket up into the air. Our homing missiles will deal with everything down there, and oh man, I really hope that the NPC dudes, nope, they seem to be pretty stupid and actually running around and hitting all of these mines, which I didn't really want them to do, but we still ended up getting them both to survive, even though our little ally dude ended up croaking. So now we should actually have some extra damage. That's very nice. We've been getting very lucky with our generation and actually getting so many different cards. Like, man alive, we are not tanky, but very, very high damage going on right now, because otherwise that was a lot of damage that we ended up getting from both of those squires. Like, we're just cleaning up. Man alive. Let's see how much our ultimate does. Can it one-shot him? Yeah, it can. Wow, dude. So that's the thing, like, that's what I love about this game, you know? It's very cool in the way that it works. Its design is very well thought out and very well done. Plus, the devs are very responsive and listen to a lot of the feedback that they get from the community, you know? Now, you can also see, too, if you ever end up forgetting, you can see that the boss, like, he's always in the top right, which, yeah, we just got to the boss, so this is perfect timing. Oh, boy. Hello, El Capitan. I will destroy you. Give me 1 mana for no reason. As we end up completing these levels too, we end up getting another boon, which is kind of like a permanent buff that we carry throughout all of the rounds. Oh my goodness gracious. Gotta be very careful of this guy. Oh, we're causing so much damage, though. Do we really got to be careful? Another thing, too, that I've noticed about this game since the old versions that I ended up playing a million years ago is the camera seems to be zoomed in quite a bit. I don't know if that's a good or a bad thing, though, because it makes it a little bit more difficult to play because you can't really see as much. Now, maybe they ended up doing that on purpose. Oh, wow, our ultimate just kicks his butt, dude. This guy is going down, no problem. Can we defeat him before the lasers? Yeah, we can. All right, get wrecked. So now as we progress through and end up getting victory, we get a whole bunch of points that we could spend on stuff, and we're also gonna end up getting that boon that I ended up mentioning. So let's actually take a peek and see. These are kind of permanent stat boosts that you can keep, I think, throughout the entire campaign, and then you'll probably end up starting from square one in the next campaign. Of course, the game gets progressively harder and the enemies get smarter as well. So we could increase the drop rate of health globes, damage taken from attacks is reduced by 2, gain 1 mana during the first card phase, and 8% more damage, which we will take that, even though we're gonna call it here, because otherwise we could progress through the next round and then get to the next boss, but each of these different phases or levels is going to have like the same amount of progression where we'd have to fight through more and more difficult odds, and it kind of the random generation is what's really cool about it because it means that it's not the same experience every time you end up playing it. Thanks for watching though, everybody. Very much appreciate it. Hope you enjoyed the video. Sayonara and stay epic.